So the countdown is on to 2019, but before we celebrate the new year, let's take a look back at 2018 and all of President Trump's big accomplishments. From getting Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh on the bench, to soaring incomes for the middle class, to confronting China, 2018 has been and seen several big wins for President Trump. Joining me now, Mike Huckabee, former Arkansas governor and a Fox News contributor. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of your New Year's Eve with us this evening.
Happy to do it, Julie. Happy New Year to you and all the folks who are having to work real hard tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah, we are working real hard here. Let me ask you first. What would you say was President Trump's biggest accomplishment in your view?
I think that he survived the onslaught of the press and the Democratic Party, but then I repeat myself, who were relentless in going after him every single day and gave him no quarter whatsoever in terms of even acknowledging his accomplishments. But in terms of the list, and Real Clear Politics did a great job of putting together a top 10 list of things that the president had gotten done. I think one of the most significant is the historic levels of employment for minorities. The all-time low unemployment for African Americans and Hispanics matches the lowest they've ever had. So here's the big question, Julie. If Donald Trump is a racist, first of all, how come no one ever thought that all the many years that he was the toast of the town in New York for people of all races and of all the liberals? Secondly, if he's a racist and he's doing more for people of color in their jobs and in their income than any president has ever done, I just have to agree that Real Clear Politics was right. He is terrible as a racist. He is a failure as a racist because he's really doing things that are lifting up people of color like no one else ever has.
I'd like to end the year on a high note because, you know, that's me, you know, half glass full type of gal. According to whitehouse.gov, here are some other things that has happened this year. Maybe Democrats haven't or don't want to notice. Almost 4 million jobs have been created since his election. More Americans are now employed than ever recorded before in our history. More than 400,000 manufacturing jobs created since election. New unemployment claims recently hit a 49-year low, and the median household income has hit highest level ever recorded. That, I believe, gives you plenty of reasons to be optimistic about 2019.
I mean, we really should be. We're hearing that the stock market has gone down here at the end of the year. But let's keep in mind, for 2 years, it soared to record heights. So that's a big thing. And let me mention the embassy move to Jerusalem. That may seem like a minor thing, but for the past 22 years, presidents have promised they would do it, both Democrat and Republican. They never did it. And when the president moved it this year, I asked him, I said, what was the turning point? He said, real simply, just kind of a shrug of the shoulders and said, well, number one, I promised I would do it, and number two, it's the right thing to do. I found that so refreshing that he didn't listen to all the political advice that told him to not do it, and he did it, and it hasn't resulted in World War III as was predicted.
I want to pull up some Fox News opinion polls. We asked our viewers, has 2018 been a good or bad year for you and for the U.S.? And, well, 58% said good year for me, 40% for the U.S., 28% bad year for them, and 43% for the U.S. Why do you think more people saw this as a bad year for the U.S. when the economy, unemployment, we just went through all the list of positives, are doing better than it has been in decades?
Real simple, Julie. They're watching the wrong network. And they're getting their news from sources that really don't tell them what's going on in the world and the fact that America is on the winning path again. And that's too bad. The press, you know, they don't have to like Donald Trump. I get that. But they ought to be able to just be journalists and tell the story. Let the American people decide whether or not they like the story of these unemployment numbers and the wages going up.
All right. Well, you know, it is always great to see you, and you always like to see the glass half full as well. When are we getting our band together? Remember, I was going to play the clarinet in your band. Can we maybe make that a 2019 resolution? We get the band together?
I think it's time, Julie. It's definitely time. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. I love being a band nerd, and I love that you are too. All right, Mike Huckabee, Happy New Year to you. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Happy New Year, Julie.
All right.